The Ring: Terror's Realm, originally released in February of 2000 for the Sega Dreamcast. It is considered by many to be the worst Sega Dreamcast game ever made, but I think that's being just a bit harsh on it. I mean, sure, it's confused, but there's enjoyment to be had here. I went into this believing it would be based on The Ring, the horror movie, and I was only like 75% wrong. For all of my North American audience, which should be all 20 of you, The Ring was originally a Japanese novel, turned into a Japanese movie, and adapted into an American horror movie. This game, however, is only loosely based on the original Japanese franchise, and it's pretty far from that too. The American movie is pretty much the same as the original. You watch the film, you see weird images, and you die in 7 days. This game is different though. The game starts with some dude named Robert dying. His girlfriend Meg and his friend Jack come rushing to the scene to see his body, and the police just let them. Now this is where we get to see the atrocious voice acting in the game.
Hold on a moment, sir.
I know the two of them. They're friends. What happened? I don't believe this.
I see.
I knew I should have played the Japanese version when I heard the English dub. After this, Meg takes Robert's job at the CDC, which seems kind of fishy to me. You don't usually just take your dead spouse's job. The CDC goes out and quarantines on her first day due to a virus outbreak. Meg tries to snoop around the CDC though, and try to find out exactly what happened to Robert. She ends up finding out about the Ring program, a computer game that transports her into a dark world with monsters. You fight through here, trying to stay alive and help out the brigade members. When you get transported back to the real world, you continue on to find out that the chief of the CDC is trying to create a new virus, using the body of the girl from the Ring movies. Meg keeps seeing flashes of this girl. She gets further and further throughout the game world, and eventually, we find out that the game world is the real world, and the real world is a fictional world created by the girl from the film. Who kills people. The fake world, designed on looking like the past, shows how things got out of hand. That old curse turned into a film, which is the traditional way of dying in 7 days. But the film was turned into a virus by the CDC, and for whatever reason it turns you into a monster. I am just as confused as everyone else here. Meg's objective was originally to infiltrate this game world that's based on the past, and get a vaccine of the girl from the films. Yeah, okay. And that's the whole story. Basically, I think. It's confusing, but honestly, it's not the worst story in the world. It's trying to be way too many different things, but it definitely kept me engaged. The controls are dog shit at first, and while it doesn't make them good, you do get used to them. Eventually, the game does become fun to play, though challenging. Although, that is kind of what makes it fun to play in the first place. When you die, it is just a game over. And this game is already long enough as it is. Luckily, with save states in the emulator I'm using, I can completely avoid this. I died a lot in this game. There's a severe lack of health throughout the entire map. A lot of enemies spawning in weird places, and a lack of any good ammo. I went for a very long time, being one hit away from death. I saved after every single enemy I killed, just in case. Sometimes the difficulty does come from the weird controls. Like, these little lizard dudes on the ground are super hard to hit if you can't aim down. Sometimes these guns let you aim down, and sometimes they just don't. At the end of the game, the chief of the CDC turns into a monster. This is a boss fight. I was completely unaware there was going to be any boss fights in this world. Because of this, I didn't bring a single gun from the future world. My only save was right before the boss fight, not knowing the boss fight was coming at all, and I only had one bullet. This meant that I had to use Meg's shove, which is what she uses when there is no weapon equipped. The problem is, its damage is dog shit. I had hundreds of attempts. I tried endlessly to shove him without being hit. I had to save after every single successful shove. In the end, I made it. Somehow. Now I knew a final boss fight was coming, with the girl with the powers whose DNA I needed to make a vaccine for the future world. so I may or may not have used cheat codes to give myself a katana. Listen, after the hell that I went through with that last boss fight, don't blame me. I still don't have any ammo. After I went all Last Samurai on her, it was over. Meg saved the world. Wow, this is one of the weirdest games I have ever played. The cutscenes are bad, the voice acting is worse, the premise is confused, and the controls are awkward as hell. But I had fun here. If this is as bad as the Dreamcast gets, I don't think it has much to complain about, besides being worse than any other console in its generation.